you get LUTO, a Horridor puzzler about dealing with grief. Horridor.
Horridor. Wow.
Coined it just now.
I like it.
That's really good.
That's fantastic, actually.
Like I don't mind the odd scare from time to time. I like to play these scary games, particularly the ones that are trending. And who doesn't want to watch me squeal like a pig on stream?
Whoa, different
reference.
genre.
So this game is it's a character dealing with grief and walking through a series of labyrinths that are within your own mind, which is set up right at the start. The game's themes are consistent and well explored right from the start as you kind of explore this nightmare state of mind. But it feels really deftly crafted. I don't want to spoil what it does because it's quite a short experience. It's about a 3-hour game. But it uses the medium of video games very well. It's one of those games that is a little bit reflexive in its design. The fact that it is a video game is part of how the narrative plays out. People who watch the stream would have seen a few elements of that, but it does get quite deep as you get deeper into the game. But it never really uses those devices in a cheap way. It doesn't kind of betray the narrative, and this is a narrative-heavy game. The puzzles are really good. They're contextually placed in your character's psyche, so you're unpacking the tragedies that have befallen your family. And as you do so, you kind of... there's demand that you learn a bit about the members of the family in order to solve the puzzles. So you kind of... by the time you're solving the puzzles... even in a shallow or tokenistic way, you understand who these people in your family were and what happened to them, and so you feel like a sense of connection with them and the character's grief as well as you're solving the puzzles. There is a minor gripe that I have is that this is a sequence of layouts of this house that are labyrinthine, but you have to kind of search the whole area in order to kind of get a sense of the level that you're in, and then you start to solve the puzzles piece by piece, and you're carrying information across the labyrinth in your head, but the move speed is so slow, and there's not so much horror to this game as there is a sense of a constant unease.
Okay.
There's like a looming threat.
Sure.
But then you're solving an interesting puzzle and you're trying to retain information, and then you have to carry it for 3 minutes as you walk across the map, which is not a massive deal, but it's like... And if you could run, it would damage the tone of the game.
Right.
So it's kind of it's a minor gripe. But this is the first release from this group, Broken Bird Games, and it shows. I've played a lot of this type of game. This one has a real grasp of the genre, and it really, for a first game, is an impressive feat, and it's reviewing really well.
Cool.
And is a very streamable game, so I'm sure we'll see people talking about it for a while.
I didn't watch you stream it, but I did walk in when you were playing a little bit more of it, and there was the element that you're talking about that is that reflexive kind of introspective element that, again, I won't spoil, but I stood there and went, what the... your game's broken. And you were like, no, the game is meant to play like this. And it was a really cool moment. And I was, just saw a glimpse of it. So I'm intrigued by how they've used that, and again, used it in a way that doesn't feel cheap or doesn't feel like a one-trick kind of pony thing. Yeah. I assume continually for
it's such a short experience that you don't sit in any one either game mechanic or there's not a device that gets overplayed because there's not enough time for them to overcook it, So you kind of experience a thing and it feels thematically relevant, and then you move on to the next thing. So
was it scary?
Yeah, there's definitely a
we put a social out of you getting a spook, but is that something that happens a lot?
No, there's no jump scares.
Well, you jumped.
Yeah, come on, mate. I'm a performer. I'm a NIDA trained professional. I'm not NIDA trained. But it's there's just a great presence, and so much of it is sound design. But there's all the tropes, There's things moving off in the corner of your peripheral, and like we just saw just now, a thing crawling up the wall. Unnatural, supernatural elements to it that play out in the way that you would expect. It's where it starts to change the way that the game is playing around you, that it becomes a more interesting take, I think. Because otherwise, this to me could have ended up being a Poppy's Playground,
Sure.
Poppy's Playtime.
Playtime,
Yeah.
FNAF, kind of like
Cheap
what's
thrills
the
and silly
cheap thing that's
Yeah.
going to jump
Sure.
around the corner and that we're going to make a action figure out of.
Yeah.
And it's never that. It's never that. It's all really focused back in on this. Luto turns out is Spanish for grief.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't directly translate, but
Sure.
because I looked up the direct translation and it was like breaking or something like that. But apparently the meaning of it is grief, and I think it does a really good job of holding the theme throughout the kind of 2.5-3 hour play session.
Cool.
So I mean, it's not a fun game to play.
That's why these things do so well streaming.
But I think it's
like,
a really effective game, and it's nice having company when you're feeling uncomfortable. So it is a nice game to
Also,
stream.
it does help, and it's helped me in the past, having chat to occasionally be like, when you do run across the map and go, I'm scared, and like, the fuck am I here for again? They're like, the code's 348, you're at the door. I'm like, thank you, chat. I played,
for sure.
was it Transference or something? That Elijah Wood developed one that was like,
Yeah,
you
I
ran
remember
around the
that one,
house
yeah.
with that inner trauma of that kind of getting vibes, very different graphical style, but like that kind of cool, you weren't there for the horror, but it was around you while you were unpacking it all. And then, again, a lot of the gamey kind of stuff there. But
It's a really nice art style.
yeah.
Really, like,
Yeah.
it's obviously very simple, but there's just like something to it in terms of its lighting, in terms
Yeah,
of
the
its
lighting is
textures, just something there.
Like, it's so simple, but like I love seeing like a cement wall in a game that looks like a cement wall.
There's some real artistry to it. Like I've played heaps of games in Unreal Engine 5 now,
Yeah.
right? But this like feels distinct. It doesn't feel like they just
Assets.
downloaded an asset pack
Yeah,
and
yeah.
built their game in it. There's some real attention to detail and care. This is a house that feels lived in and
Yeah,
being
that's what I'm
moved in
saying.
or out of.
Feels
It's
like a
design.
home.
That's
Yeah.
some real talent.
feels like home.
Don't say it if it is a spoiler, but the voice is that a big part of it from the start?
Yeah, and I've seen people being negative about it. There is like I mentioned, it's a part Stanley Parable. There is a narrator voice, which feels at odds with the game. The idea of being isolated in a space like this, and also puzzle solving, and it providing like at least a direction, if not a hint. And so I was like, I don't really know what this is, but it is, again, playing back into this concept of this person dealing with their own grief and being in their own head is thematically relevant deeper into the game as well. So it's this kind of thing that gets set up that becomes something so much more and something so different to what you think it is about to be.
I love narration in video games, and especially if it's doing something interesting. And again, speaking like the Stanley Parables and the tiger and the something.
Yep.
Like they were very farcical, sort of fun ways to play. I just always think it's interesting having a voice in my head, like in a game, tell me what I am doing or not doing, and around me. I'm just like, I think it's a cool device. So
Yeah,
check
it's
that
very
out.
cool, Luto, and it's not too expensive, like $20 or something.
Sure,
like
it has
that,
that kind of
yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.